Hello and welcome back to episode 10 of Bossman, where we go for every collection log from every boss in the game. As a reminder, there is a giveaway associated with this series, where the final item of the collection log is given away. Should a pet be the final drop, then 25 mil is given away instead. To be eligible to enter the giveaway, you need to be subscribed to the channel and comment down below with your RSN. If I complete a log this episode, leave a comment down below. No spoilers yet. But without further ado, let's get into the episode. So we've hit the drop rate for the rarest item in the log at 1 in 2560, so we can now officially complain about being dry. I figure it's going to take me till about 4,000 kills, and I'll be happy if I get it done before then, but past that I'll start to complain.
So now we are going to move on to the final God Wars Dungeon 2 boss, the Twin Furies. They're kind of special because there's two of them, but they share a life pool. The big downside to this is that poison damage doesn't work there, so I am going to get rid of our Cinderbanes and replace with custom fit trim masterwork. And also I should get rid of this weapon poison flask in my inventory so I don't actually use it. Much like the other God Wars Dungeon 2 bosses, they have the crest and some weapons. These are T85 dual wield weapons. They've gone up recently due to archaeology and needing to get lunging, as everyone kind of bought their spear. But because there's two of them, we are going to be maining the scythe. In terms of hard mode, normal mode, because the hard mode for this boss is not that difficult, and it's really not that much longer, but it's double the pet drop rate. What I'm probably going to do is get up to 400 KC and just kind of understand the boss a little over those first 250 kills. And then from that, we are going to go to challenge mode until we get both pets, because we shouldn't be too dry on the drops, as they're all 1 in 256. Except for the essence, which is 1 in 64. So let's try to not die. I'm going to pot up beforehand because it's the first kill. I'm going to start with a Vamp Scrim on, but by the end of it, I might not need it. So I believe we want to target this one first, because the other one does their charge. Yeah, we just need to avoid that. I think there's one more. Yeah, that was the last one. I should have been aware of that. Another red one is going to do a special. I think the red one, they'll fly out. So I want to target this one, because the other one is no longer targetable, and then we stand in this little area. And there we go, that was the first kill, and because we killed it so quickly, we ended up getting the challenge for basically beating them that quickly. So let's try that again, except for this time we won't have Zerk. I'm going to try ZGSing when... Actually, I'll try ZGSing at the start. They're probably going to go into their channeled attack, which we didn't get on the first kill. Yeah. So here, if you stand in the middle, you can attack both of them, and you deal a lot of damage very quickly to them. There we go. Got our first essence, the first of many. New PR, 46 seconds. I'm sure that'll go down over time even further. I just need to figure out the right DPS rotation. And as I said, it's bound to go down. 45 seconds. Here is our first Twins unique with the Blade of Nymora. The offhand, that would be the main hand weapon. Well, this is a pretty quick time, and I messed up a dodge. New PR and an essence in the same kill. A lot of spam. And I got dragged twice, so I can easily cut off like 5 seconds.
So we ended up finishing our first full hour at Twins. We got 48 kills. Only add in the common loot to see what the hour is like here. It seemed like a fairly standard hour. Yeah, so 7.1 mil. Not great, not terrible, but considerably worse than Hellweir. Then we got the 1 blade and the 2 essence, which is another 5.3 mil. So about 12 mil total. I spent about 2 mil on gear, potions, and armor spikes and the like. So today is the day where we go back to Elite Dungeon 1. I did a ton of Elite Dungeon 1 within the first month before Solak came out back in 2018, doing 75 group kills, most of which those were on day of release, and then transitioning into solo kills afterwards. We are already on 2 thresholds, So that means that our pet drop rate is 1 in 100 right now, and will only go up as we continue. Now, in terms of the collection log, it's a relatively easy collection log, as the pet is the only really rare drop. Himiko's Vision and Prassian Allegiance are both story drops, so they're about 1 in 10, and same with these Fishy Treats and Masuda's War Spear, so 1 in 10, 1 in 20, and you get scales every single solo. So the pet's really the only difficult one here. So we were bound to be ending on that. Apart from that, we're going to be using melee with Trim Masterwork, as it does not degrade in Elite Dungeons. So we'll keep that charge that we have, and it'll also help us get us up to level 20, as stuff like Corp and Select doesn't necessarily give that much item experience. And we're also probably going to do some mage here just to get our mage gear up as well. In terms of our setup, we have most of our melee weapons here, a lot of them in fact. We are also need to swap over to the Lunar Spellbook so we can use both Disruption Shield and Venge. Apart from that, a fairly standard melee setup. The Dominion mines here are for the last boss fight, where you can mine the pillars. But let's get into it. In terms of aura, we're going to be using the Majorat aura, as it gives us 5% more damage even in our Zerks, which will be really nice for attempting to cycle the core. So majority of this is going to be fighting through the mobs. That is the highlight of the Elite Dungeons, but with Double Surge and our Topazers, we should get through this relatively quickly. Get them all stacked up, and now we can Zerk on our Vamp Scrim and hope for the best. Oh, we already got a Ceronic Scale, that's nice. Go through here and barge on this guy in the middle. We stand here, our cleave, and target the outside ones. Our AoE should work pretty well. You see the middle guys getting hit here. Same thing, we can assault here just because it's the only one left. Be wary of the stuns. And go through the next door, and then everything behind me despawns very nicely. Throw in a cheeky little ZGS spec here, put the scythe back on. Same thing as before, stand kind of in the middle. Now here you can skip all of these dragons on Mage Protect. Turn off Auto Retaliate. And instead come down to these guys here. And like the others, we can just kill these and teleport out. Put the scythe back on. And now that that's done, we can teleport out. Rebank in case we used any food. Our HP goes up. Now when you enter this time, you can teleport to the Chamber of the Guardian. There's going to be this one dragon over here. I think they put this here to try to stop people from teleporting out. But we can go ahead and just beat him down. Make sure you use Quake because their defense is quite high when we're using Majorat. You have to use your scythe to reach this guy. Start the kill on range protect. And one square over on this side. Now this thing comes across the middle and soul split up a little bit. There we go, we got our barge on. Same thing. Back here, and we can Zerk again. But this time I'm going to use the Sigil to make sure I get the bleed off. I think you can throw Vuln Bombs on like this square and it hits him, but it's really weird, so I'm not gonna bother. I'm not too sure exactly where it goes. Like, 206, I'm okay with that. Like, that's not great. But a pretty good time, all things considered. For my first time being back here in like 2 years. If I can remember. Now there's these Death Lotus spinners, and they just absolutely wreck you. Yeah, it's those guys. These Death Lotus are, I think we have to like Devo range protect them. Yeah, because they just spam us down like that, yeah. So I forgot just how annoying Masuda is, but like 27 Onyx Dust isn't terrible. We're prepping ourselves for Siryu. Let's just see how this goes. This is my first attempt meleeing it ever. So it might turn to absolute shit. Plop down a ZGS spec. So for this, I'm just going to run away. Then barge back in. And we can move. And the advantage of that is that I just don't need to deal with the mechanic. He puts his tail down, so we need to move. Puts his tail down, so we need to move. So energy is bursting forth again, so again I'm going to let it come out towards me. And barge back in. I'm not going to bleed here. I want to keep my stuff up for when we go for the 2 cycle. I'm going to jump up here. Zerk. Mine. Keep attacking. Dump all our thresholds into here. The crystal will easily die before the blobs get there. Now for this one, we are going to build up. DBX spec, I think I have enough time. Should be really good on time. Life. 2. 4. Mine. Character takes a step back, and we're going to onslaught now. Oh, and we have to freedom here. With that part. We tag all these bitches. We ended up with 8 scales for our first one. That's about like 6 mil in the current environment. Are there any drops here? It's just the charms. It's just the charms. So I had cleaned out my dungeon and it was just over 17 mil before. So we got 8 mil that raid, but let's see how high this chest can go by the time we get pet. Ooh, 12 scales. Cheeky little 10 mil. Oh, why am I jumping down? I can just teleport. Big damage, please. Be close. Ah, we got it. There we go, a 2 cycle. Now we just need to make 2 cycle faster. I waited way too long there, and we got 5 scales. That's pretty bad. Once you do something once, it gets very easy. Here we go. Nice, clean 2 cycle. 4 scales again. This will be an easy 2 cycle. Gotta get the rest of the pipe better, but 633. We got a Serenic scale and 31 ancient scale. That's a big drop. That's like a 30 mil drop. Woo! Easy 2 cycle. We'll get the sub 6 pretty soon. How many do we get? 4 scales. That sucks. This is going to be our first sub 6. Now we can move on to the sub 5. 545. We didn't get doubled energies. How many did we get? 5. Quick kills always seem to be poor for drops. Ooh, another fishy treat. Sell that one to Denny again. Ooh, 36 scales. Ooh, 26 more scales. We got the pet. That's title. We can be done with this place. Okay, let's not. I almost like instinctively teleported. Oh, is it in the? It's in the. I also got a mimic kill token, so I thought it was down here. Yeah. Woo. Okay, let's go get this pet. You guys can now see the broadcast there. And now when I claim the pet, I will get the title. So the 152 Siryu. And 77 solos. There we go. Crest obtained. Get the other blade and then go for hard mode pet. Oh my god.
That is so good. We just got the Avapet. A new PR, 41 seconds. I feel like I can lower that. Even that's without a Vuln Bomb, so I've properly thrown Vuln Bomb at the start of the kill. Probably like 34 seconds, I think. Let's go. That is the offhand blade. And all we need now is the other pet. This has been a very quick collection log so far, which is kind of dangerous to think about because if this last pet takes forever, I'm going to be kind of sad. There we are, kill 400 of twins. Go here and look at our kill count. 400, which means we can now start the hard mode, as we'll have a 1 in 500 chance at the pet. The one thing to note about hard mode is there are two new mechanics. There's this red bomb that goes around and it'll hit us for about like 3,000 to 4,000 damage if we are close to it. And then after they do their charge attack in the middle with the explosion, there'll be this blue ball that bounces around, and if we stand on the blue ball, it'll get reflected onto the twins and deal damage. But I feel like the kill will be over most of the time by the time we get there, as they only have 300,000 LP, and it does take a while to get all the way there. Start. Woo. 14 mil. That's good. That's our second blade there. Got ourselves a nice blade. Who knows, maybe I'll be at twins for the next 500 to 1,000 hard mode kills. Blade. That is not a pet. Another stinking blade. Aye, we got the blade of Namora. We did pick ourselves up a blade. Just keep getting these. It is very me luck to get like incredibly lucky on rare drops. In terms of drop rates at the one boss that is the cheapest for items. So our trim masterwork body ran out that kill. That had the full 200,000 charges, and I didn't think I'd actually ever end up using a body, but it's become so cheap to actually use it that I went ahead and started using it instead of the regular masterwork. So I went ahead and bought the masterwork, and it was 43 mil for the plate and the legs, and now we need to get 32 divine charges each, so we need 64. I'm going to do 164 because I'm also low on divine charges myself. Going hard mode. We're going to add 100. Then we take our trimmed masterwork. Go there. You like to repair and recharge your augmented custom fit trim masterwork plate body uncharged? Yes. Would you like to do? Yes. Used it, now up to 100%. We do the same thing here. Up to 100%. And check. We have 200,000 charges again. And if we go to our history, 8 mil for the divine charges, 16 mil for the legs, and 27 mil for the body. So essentially 51 mil for 200,000 charges. Well, at least that's the good drop. What number essence is that? All I know is it's too many. 16. I think that's now my highest essence count. Back to back with the essence. Essence and a blade back to back. Let's call that a pet, but it's not a pet. They'll wait till they all say grats on pet. It's gonna happen. Disappointed in you, Kenny. You say grats on pet on like 15 of my drops, and then the one time I'm like, Kenny's gonna do this, he doesn't do it. If you're wondering why my action bar is like this, it's because my keyboard is kind of dead. These two WS and X are not really working very well. I can spam them. They work intermittently, but I never really know when I press it if it's going to go off or not. So I have my Revo bar set up like this so that it'll activate Sever. Oh, and look at that. We got a blade while I was recording. I think that's our 9th blade of Namora.
Keybinds are paying off. I just knocked 4 seconds off my fastest kill. Wow. Oh my god, we just got the pet. Oh, I'm so happy right now. It's like everyone went crazy. I was so excited that I just forgot to even record. Oh my god. Okay, let's get this. We are heart to heart. Today is a great day. Look at the final log here. Let's figure out what I'm gonna do now. Today is a great day. So I went ahead and did a lot of Slayer and fight task because I put on relic power for Slayer interest. I temporarily put it on instead. I was able to choose maximum Alphates 100, and then I spent 30 Slayer spended, now up to Alphites, and that should last us about, I want to say like 80 to 90 kills at K. Makes for, just say, a long time. Oh! Gregor Longsword on the last kill of our Reaper. It is! Oh my god! We are 5 out of 6 with only 5 gores. That's incredible. Watch us now go incredibly dry on this offhand mace. And with that, we are at the end of episode 10 of Bossman, and as promised in the last episode, we're going to go ahead and do a price check on the tab, which is starting to look pretty impressive. Gonna need a scroll bar soon enough, or have to make my bank bigger. But let's start at the top. The first inventory, which is mostly carried by 200 mil in Torn Grimoire pages, and the rest of which are barrows, leads up to 280.3 mil. The second inventory of the rest of the barrows loot, KBD, QBD loot, leads up to only 46.6 mil, but that's kind of expected as those are all relatively low-level bosses. Now moving into essentially what is all of our rare drops from God Wars Dungeon 1, we have 138.2 mil, but I'll round that up to 138.3 for the calculations. Moving into the Corp and God Wars Dungeon 2 drops, and we start to see it add up very quickly with 704.4 mil. Most notably, the Sliske drops are basically 200 mil. The Zami drops are basically 200 mil, and the Hellweir drops are basically 200 mil. So this is our first inventory of common loot, and it's 558.6 mil. And I think, a majority of that comes from the 368 mil from the Onyx bolts. With how dry I am at Corp now, that could be very well getting up to a white stack by the time we're done here. And then apart from that, it's just a bunch of 1 or 2 mil stacks adding together. Our next inventory of commons is 623 mil as well. It's mostly carried by the salvage and then the tectonic energies, which, despite having crashed about 400k, are still a 278 mil stack. And other drops, like the raw sharks that I got from God Wars Dungeon 2, as all the bosses there drop it, and so does Corp. So our second to last inventory is 500 mil, and you might be asking yourselves why it's 500 mil when half of it are useless stone spirits, and it's 2 reasons, well, really 3. These Wine of Zammies, which are 88 mil, and then all these herbs, like the Lanthanimes that we got from Hellweir, insane, 128 mil, and they're just easy to get a herb stack up to 25 mil now. And last, but certainly not least, is the final loot inventory of commons, which are 233.4 mil. It's not half bad. The ashes basically exclusively came from twins, while the desert goat horns here basically exclusively came from Corp. So if we take all of those inventories and add them all together, we get 3 bill 85 mil. But on top of that, we also have 51.28 mil, which makes the total then up to 4.3 bill, at 4367 mil, and additionally I had already taken out 40 mil shards from the stack to help buy the Grimoire and have general supplies for PVMing, which means if you include those as part of the tab, which some of you will, some of you won't, that gets us up to 5,367 mil as the total loot gained from all the collection logs I've done so far. Just insane. Like, that's 2.5 months to get 5 bill when a lot of it is on very low level bosses. And if you want to look at kind of how much GP I've actually made, I had about 300 mil on the tradable wealth evaluator when I started that. So I had about 4.5 bill of profit in the time that I've been doing this series, but that includes all things that are not just the Bossman series. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.